Welcome to Family Friday.
Hey, we thought we'd bring our daughter to join us.
The
today.
only other girl in the house besides you.
This is maybe Bruce.
You gonna say anything? No.
Just gonna hang out.
So
Thanks for joining us.
We wanted to thank you, and we just wanted to kind of get honest with this question: how is online church going for you? Confessions of a stay-at-home pastor. It's been really hard.
Yeah, well, it's been a I think for the family, it's been a challenge.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful and really hard because, we had it like last night. We had some aha moments with online church.
Yeah. So we, of course, like you, if you've got kids at home, we want everybody to be in the same room at the same time. And there's just something about worship that's so hard when it's just your own voices.
Yeah.
And it's not the voices of hundreds of other people joining around you, right? I've found how much of my worship is determined by the emotion or the energy in the room.
Right, and usually the energy of the room when the family is all together is not necessarily a worship-inducing, but more of a breaking up fights.
Right.
Feet in the face, don't touch my pillow, that's mine. I
think they switched like different chairs like
so
all
worshipful
throughout the service.
Yeah.
Right? And the whole time I'm just like, can you guys just sit down? It's only 1 hour. And of course, to make matters worse, it was me preaching and you helping to lead worship.
Yeah.
So they have to listen to us all the time.
We have you all day long. Why do we have to watch you again?
Yeah, so I don't know if you're experiencing any of those frustrations, but we did just want to share that breakthrough moment with you. At the end of our service, we had some questions to kind of apply to our own lives, and one of the questions we asked was, why is it so hard to focus on God at home? And our boys kind of gave us some real honest answers.
Yeah, it was actually the best part of the night was our discussion where like they're discovering as they're talking why it's so hard. And they were saying things like, well, when we come home, this is where we just relax and we sit down in front of the TV. It's for entertainment. And so it's different they didn't use this term, but to engage in a church-like setting, even a worshipful setting when the TV is usually like video games and Netflix or Disney Plus. So it's just a different kind of parameter, and even just switching that mindset into we're gonna focus on this. We're not just gonna gel, but we're gonna intentionally focus and worship. That it was a challenge for them. All of us.
Yeah, and we realized that for the first time as a family, not just a ministry family, just a Christian family in general, we had to choose to put God at the center of our home, regardless of what anyone else was seeing or anyone else was doing, or even how we felt, that instead of letting the atmosphere of the room determine our worship would change the atmosphere of the room. And out of that, the boys, when we were just honest with the boys saying, hey, it's really hard for your mom and I to do this too. This is not what we're used to. We've never had a time when we couldn't get together with our church family before. Out of that came this beautiful truth. But we get to be a church family. We get to choose as a family to come together and read God's word and worship together.
Yeah, and we realized how it feels harder because when you walk into, for example, New Hope Auditorium, there's the lights, there's the sound, there's this vibe, right? Like, so our kids are talking about the vibe. And it's just kind of an easier thing to roll into. You don't have to work so hard to kind of adjust your frame of thinking. We're home. There's not a lot of vibe going on. There's just a lot of like, boys. And so the vibe is totally different. So there's a little bit more work to engage. But once we started talking through that, it was like, oh, okay, well, that's what we just need to work on just focusing in. And even though it's, there's no lights and sounds, there's the presence of God. And that's ultimately, that's what makes us the church. And the
church starts at home. We've preached it, but now it's being put to the test.
We are living it out. And it was actually turned into a really cool discussion where they were asking, hey, can we just have our own worship sets at home? Can we, and they started to ask for things that we hadn't even brought up and ways that they want to be the church at home, and it was really pretty cool.
So we
didn't come without work, though.
Yeah, we just want to suggest that even with our the weekend services, normally most churches are showing it at least once or twice or a few times. come up with a couple discussion questions for
Yeah.
after, because we realize our boys, along with us, need time to process how
Yeah.
weird and different everything is. And when we were able to process that, we could actually get on the same page in terms of seeking the Lord
Yeah.
together as a family. So just a really, really simple, just provide a little bit of room after the
Extra
service
space.
to talk through how did that feel? How can we put the word that we just heard into practice over this next week? I think it might help.
Yep. Try it out.
So thanks again for your time. Family Friday. We'll see you next week.